The number one gold producing country in Africa, Ghana, has announced audit of all mining companies operating within its borders. Ghana is also the number six gold producer in the world and produces about 4% of all gold mined in the world. But the government of Ghana believes that it doesn't get a fair share of proceeds from gold from the big mining companies. The fight over Ghana's gold in the last few years have been concentrated on the small-scale mining industry, but over 70% of gold mined in Ghana is done by the big mining companies, the Newmont, the AngloGold Ashanti, and Goldfields Ghana. So the government believes that it is time to undertake the biggest, most intensive audit of these companies to see if the government is getting a fair share of proceeds from gold mined in Ghana. My name is Nenebi Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer who lives in the US. On this channel, I talk about geopolitics from the perspective of an African, right? And so economics tend to fall under the issues I discuss on this channel. So let's get right into it. So if you are familiar with Ghana's gold related issues in the news, you know that the government of Ghana for the past maybe 10 years have been trying to get an arrest of the rise in illegal mining and Galamsey happening in the gold industry in Ghana. That is a good cause that the government has been fighting. It is unclear whether the government of Ghana is winning or losing that fight because every day we see issues that make it feel like the government is doing the T-Pain two-step dance. They'll take two steps forward and two steps backward. So Ghana is not making any progress when it comes to dealing with the issues of illegal mining or small-scale mining in Ghana. Recently, in the news, a member of Ghana's legislature, the parliament, was said to be involved in, and let me just say, indisciplined action that involved the use of violence in areas where illegal mining happens. So while the fight on illegal mining is ongoing, Ghana's legal or large-scale mining industry has been left relatively unregulated. The last time the government of Ghana audited the large-scale mining industry was in 2015. And even that audit was what you call a DEX audit. What government did was they took the books of the mining companies and they tried to reconcile it with the books of the government. And so that took like a year to do that audit. What is happening now is the government of Ghana says that it is about to, from 2026, go to the mining sites that these mining companies operate, Newmont, Goldfield, AngloGold Ashanti, and all the other gold minings operate. Government of Ghana is going to go to their sites to see if what they report in their books matches with what is happening on the ground. And my thought is it is about time the government of Ghana did that. The government of Ghana has been unfairly treated by large corporations or multinational corporations for years. And I won't blame the large corporations for taking advantage of the incompetence and corruption in Ghana. If you are a capitalist, if you're a business person, you always take advantage of any situation to make more bucks, right? What has been happening is the government of Ghana have been neglecting to do their responsibility as the custodian of Ghana's mining industry. So according to the Constitution of Ghana, all minerals in Ghana is owned by the people of Ghana, but the government of Ghana, led by the president, holds those minerals in trust for the people of Ghana. So the government of Ghana have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that Ghanaians get the most benefit we can from this mining company. Fun fact, Hilla Limann was the president of Ghana from 1979 to 1981. And Hilla Limann, when he was president, tried to restructure Ghana's mining industry. And what he wanted to do was he wanted to include what we call corporate social responsibility these days. He wanted to include it as part of the required responsibility of the mining industry. What Hilla Limann wanted to put in place as the mining regulation of Ghana was that if you're a mining company in Ghana, it was your responsibility to tar roads that lead to the town where you were mining and take care of the community. These days, the mining companies do that, but they do it as their social corporate responsibility. Boozer wanted to make it their requirement to do that. And here's the thing. Since the 1990s, right, United Nations and other global entities have made human rights and corporate social responsibility, sustainability goals, those things, have made it part of corporate responsibility of corporations. In the 1979, when Hilla Limann was the president of Ghana and wanted to do this, it was seen as a socialist policy to have government mandate certain responsibilities for corporations, right? But these corporations were operating in countries, in places where government has fiduciary responsibility for their people. So, for example, as a capitalist myself, I am a big advocate of policies like minimum wage and the rest, because somebody have to look out for workers. Somebody have to look out for the little people. And government is the only person who can do that. Corporations don't have a responsibility to do right by its workers or its customers. They do, ethically speaking, but realistically, their number one ethical responsibility is making money for themselves. That is why I wanted to highlight that Hilla Limann, we don't celebrate him enough in Ghana. Anyway, moving forward. Ghana first overtook South Africa as the number one gold mining company in Africa in 2019. And in 2021, 2022, South Africa took the lead again and became number one. Ghana went to number two again. And then from 2023 to today, Ghana has remained the number one gold producing country in Africa. We are number 6 in the world. 4% of all gold mine in the world happens in Ghana. And so the mining companies in Ghana have a huge responsibility to Ghanaians just because they make a lot of money from Ghana. All these mining companies, AngloGold Ashanti, even though they have Ashanti in their name, it's a British company. Goldfields Ghana, I believe, is an Australian company. Newmont, I believe, is an Australian company. Don't quote me on the country. But what I'm saying is the huge mining companies, the top 3, are all foreign-owned and based companies. And so whenever they mine in Ghana, the profit and proceeds go to countries which are not Ghana. And so the government's stake in this company requires that this company treats government fairly. They pay their taxes. They give Ghana its dividends, and they give Ghanaians their due, worth when it comes to this, responsibilities, right? And so I commend the government of Ghana for taking steps to ensure that the big mining companies are also supervised. Galamsey is serious. We are taking steps to ensure that by now we have Gold Board, which takes care of Galamsey. The Mineral Commission and other arms of government can deal with the big mining companies. We can walk and chew gum as a country. We can walk and chew gum. We don't have to stand when we are chewing gum and walk when we are not chewing gum. We can do both. That is why I just wanted to highlight that and commend the government for what it is doing in the gold industry right now. Of course, if the government does something I don't agree with, or if the audit comes out, or if there's some corruption in the audit process, I'll highlight those as well. And fun fact, I don't believe that government of Ghana is corrupt. I think the government of Ghana is incompetent. We like to use corruption as the reason why our leaders don't do their job. Personally, I don't think corruption is the reason why our leaders don't do their job. I just think it's plain old incompetence. We need to call out, because see, all leaders in the world have the tendency to be corrupt. Every single president of the United States, have had verifiably true accusations of corruption and abuse of power. Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush 1, I'm counting backwards, Reagan, Carter, Nixon. That's where my memory will remember. I can remember all the 44, but I can't remember them chronologically after Nixon. Before Nixon was, no, between Carter and Nixon was Johnson. Yeah, Johnson. See. What I'm trying to say is that every single president of the United States has been accused credibly of corruption and abuse of power. Some of them to the extent that the Supreme Court have to find things they done unconstitutional. So corruption is not a problem with Africa. Incompetence. You can be corrupt and still do a good job. Incompetence and lack of care of your responsibility. If you do your responsibility well and you're corrupt, nobody cares. If you make $10 billion for Ghana and you take $100 million, you will still have $1 billion, right? If right now the amount of money they are looking to pay, what's his name, Elon Musk, right? And people are complaining about it. The company's valuation supports whatever they want to pay Elon Musk, even though I don't think that, he deserves that much. But you can make a case for it that he deserves that money. So whenever it comes to corruption, the reason why corruption is annoying in Africa is you can't make a case for why our leaders are so corrupt. Incompetence is the case. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of these intellectual conversations. I just wanted to highlight the numbers to you. Thank you for watching.